My name's Ed Connolly, and I am the owner of a company called Kingpins Worldwide, and I also am in sales for Funk Bowling, and I have been doing both those for several years now. A little bit about, about me. I found my way into bowling. I guess like a lot of people, I grew up in an area that had a lot of bowling alleys. Buffalo, New York, Western New York area, a little bit of time in Northwest Pennsylvania. So, like those areas where it's so cold for so long, there was bowling alleys everywhere. And I have distinct memories of, a lot of them were like the neighborhood kind of bar, you'd call them maybe a dive bar these days or something, just a small amount of lanes. Really good pizza, that kind of thing. As I was thinking about this conversation, a memory came back to me, and so I'm the youngest of four. And on a cold night in Buffalo, which there were many, we would talk my dad into taking us to the bowling alley and show up only to find out it was league night and there was no lanes. And I was just a little guy, whatever, 8, 9 years old. And I remember thinking like, that's crazy. There's no way, one day I'm going to own my own center and I'll bowl whenever I want. But yeah, so never was and still am not a particularly accomplished bowler. I'm certainly no threat on the lanes, but I guess, bowling kind of transcends a lot of that,
Right.
So I was definitely really into the vibe of it. And the way that I found my way into it was I was living in a small town in Georgia, a college town that had one bowling center, but they didn't offer, didn't have any bar or anything there. And, I would remember driving down the road it was on a Sunday morning and seeing, a parking lot full, empty beer cans and stuff like that. So it was sort of like, it wasn't that drinking wasn't necessarily going on. It just wasn't going on inside the building or however that worked. And so an opportunity arose for me, and I tried to recreate one of those little Western New York, upper Midwest kind of little boutique bowling centers. And
okay, I like it.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, the guys who came in to build it, I learned it, by doing. I knew a lot about food and beverage and customer service and things like that. But as far as the bowling piece, I learned it on the job.
Sure.
But I remember the crew that came down and was putting it in. They kept saying things to me like, man, they just don't do them like this anymore. They just don't do them like this anymore. It was certainly old school.
Yeah.
Which brought positives and negatives, but we had a pretty cool experience in that. After being open for about 3 months, a friend of mine was getting married. He had his reception there, and his employers, who happened to be REM, got together, the 4 original members, and did a show in the bowling alley. So 7 songs. It's out there on YouTube, at least some of it is. But that took our little bowling center and just, it kind of really, it really blew up.
You do a lot of music after that?
Yeah, that was something that we certainly catered to. I mean, it was in Athens, Georgia, which is, such a great college town. So many amazing, there's so many great bands that you've heard of and so many great bands that you haven't heard of, And so, music became a part of what we did. We had regular, touring bands. We found a niche for us in that the rock clubs and your traditional venues, most of them, if not all of them, were not open on Sunday nights because of the way the alcohol laws were at the time. So a touring band, we could get some good ones on Sunday nights. And that's what we kind of found our niche there. I always thought the days of the piano lounge were kind of cool. And I had a friend of mine start to do a weekly piano show there. He went on to join the Drive-By Truckers not too long after that, but that was a really fun thing that we did. We just tried a lot of kind of out of the box thinking, I guess,
Yeah. And so would the band play to like all of the lanes, or was there a separate room for it?
There was a separate room that the way it was in a shopping center. So I originally got 2 of the pieces, opened it up, put in the lanes, and then it was so popular, I got the space next to us and added 2 more lanes and made that, sort of room for that.
Okay.
And, just as a tie-in. Sorry, what's that?
So that's the tricky part, is like some people are coming to bowl and they're not necessarily there for the music, and you got to work that out. A lot of people will do it with like separate room or outside or something like that. Seems to be the way to go.
Yeah, a lot of people do that, and then there's all kinds of opportunities for sort of the Instagram experience, I guess, to incorporate it more into the rest of your business, all kinds of ways. But yeah, we had a room that we did those shows in, and as a small tie-in to one of your past guest, Mr. Bart Berger, I originally called that room the 11th Frame Lounge, which was a nod to the Brunswick Center that he used to operate in the same town. So,
hey, did you like this video? Great. We make 10 of them a week. Subscribe to learn more and keep learning about what's working in the industry. Talk to you then.